Okay, I'm letting a little bit of time go by. I let a little bit of leader start because a lot of times you start talking, and when you start talking, you realize, the thing hasn't caught up yet and gone live. But I think I'm live. So here I am on a Sunday morning, 9:15 a.m. And I'm actually starting earlier than usual. I was going to start 9:30. I'm going to have to make these start times 9:15. I think on Sunday mornings when I do these here, because I get here much earlier at this place than I anticipated. So anyway, here I am. Um, Everything okay? I ate breakfast. Is everything okay? Salad for breakfast, not very. You know what? Well, I had, you know what? They had eggs in there. It was very good. Hard boiled eggs, not bad. So anyway, hey folks, what's going on? Here I am, ready for another catch up with Mayo, live Q&A, getting to know you, getting to know me, that kind of stuff like you really want to. Hey, Caleb is here. First comment. Hello, Caleb. Have not heard from you in quite a while, I don't think, so it's great to see you here. And I'm ready for everybody. So hopefully there were some people that are early birds in the East. If you're living, of course, in England or something, it's later. It's afternoon, right? So you got good time here. This I think this is a good time. 9:30 in the morning. It's not too bad if you are in the West here. You right. You go back a couple hours. You get on here at what 7:30 in the morning, something like that. Maybe 6:30 in the morning. It's got to get up early if you want to waste your time with me. But I'm just saying. So okay, folks, let's go. Anybody have any comments? I know we only have a few people here because it is Sunday early in the morning here. But a lot of times people, in UK are asking, "Hey, why don't you do it at a time when I can be here?" Well, here I am. So what's going on? And as I always say, if you want to hit that like button, I appreciate the thumbs up. Looks nice and sunny out, you say, Caleb. We have snow and clouds this morning. We didn't get any snow this winter at all. So lucky. And that's just the way I like it. That's just the way I want it. Yeah, there's a lot of sun here. We got a beautiful sunny day. However, it is very cold here. Very, very cold here. Hey, Lila says I look like I'm in hospital. A hospital. No, I'm not in a hospital. In a classroom. And yeah, it's interesting. You should say that. It's interesting. But yeah, so we got a very cold day today. Well, it's a cold morning anyway. But this is the month of March, isn't it? March insanity. You wind up having a good day one day, then you wind up having freezing cold the next day, and maybe snow and everything else. And I'd be surprised if we get into April without some kind of annoying snow. But here's hoping. So, hello, Raymond. What's going on? And as I say, for the regular people that are here, the regular people that come here all the time, there's not much you can ask, right? After a while, all the questions have been asked. What are you going to ask, right? So I understand that. But what's been up with me? I've been getting into movies very much again lately. I watched last night the BBC version of Dracula, or Count Dracula, Louis Jourdan from 1977. I have a movie channel which I name pretty frequently here. If you want to go over and join my movie channel to see movies and television stuff and movie talk like this, where we just do movie talk. The name of my channel is Mayo's Marquee, like a movie marquee, right? So go over to Mayo's Marquee and please join me there. And yeah, I've really been laying low with buying music. I haven't bought many CDs or records. Lila has good questions, so I'm glad she's here. Do you listen to any podcasts about your favorite movies? Well, yeah, there are people that I watch. I see podcasts, YouTube channels. I mean, Darren Franz, who does Cinema Chat. And then there's Gary, my friend now, who does Gary's Comics and Movies. And there are people. I think Dave's Media Channel is Gray 1951 Media. Those kind of things. I don't know if they're officially podcasts, but any interest in the Hunger Games series? I hear there is a new one coming this year. Also, did you see Avatar? Did not see Avatar. Have no desire to see Avatar. It's just a mindless CGI from what I can see. I'm not interested in that cartoony CGI. But as far as Hunger Games, I've heard a lot of good things, but I've not seen that either. So, no, I haven't seen everything. A lot of movies out there, a lot of television shows out there, so you have to figure you're bound to miss something. At the moment, my go-to comfort films are the Amicus 1970s horrors. Okay, Lila, I'm into those too. Any particular favorites you like? How about those the anthology films like The House That Dripped Blood, Tales from the Crypt, The Vault of Horror? How about those? I'm hoping I get no interruptions here. It was very difficult this morning when I came to this place to find an empty classroom where there's no classes going on. And a woman told me, nobody's going to be here today. This is the perfect room. Nobody will be here today. Well, let's hope that turns out to be a fact because you never know. Nothing worse than you start one of these live streams and then somebody like pops in, you know, nothing worse than that. Okay, everybody, what's going on here today? Okay, Lila says Vault of Horror. I think that's the Tom Baker artist one. Um, I know there's a vampire story in that one. And sometimes they're cut. You know, sometimes they're cut. The different versions of Vault of Horror, but I have one that's uncut. Raymond asks, "Are you gonna get Patty Boyd's autograph at the Beetle Fest?" Yeah, I think I will. You know, absolutely. Why not? She was at the Beetle Fest one other time, and then I didn't get her autograph. And a lot of times people say, well, what? Some people don't care about autographs. That's fine if it's not your thing, but it's my thing. And I like, you have a Beatle collection and you have people that are associated with the Beatles. I'll get a nice photograph of Patty from '66 with George and have it signed. It's not that she's one of the Beatle alumni. Hi there, Jason Wilburn. Hello, what's going on, man? So usually when I do these early on Sunday mornings, not many people come here to comment. I have like 20 something people watching, but not everybody comments, obviously. So, you know. Oh, hey, Steve Maynor. Good morning to Steve. Jason Wilburn says he's been watching my movie page. Thank you. I know there's not much going on there, but it'll be getting better and better, more and more content anyway. You've been getting some good stuff. Yes, I think I have. Well, lately I've been getting more into, as I say, collecting movie memorabilia. I'm going to the Chiller Theater movie convention in late April, the end of April, and I expect to be picking up some horror kind of memorabilia there. Not just necessarily horror, if there's anything else there as well. Poland Spring, coming straight to you from Maine. Lila asks, has Easter lost its religious meaning? Yes, I think it has, sadly. And I think a lot of religion is gone, sadly. When I say religion, as I say, I get into this thing about different religions just get confusing. Everybody has their own beliefs. I'm a believer. I'm spiritual. God's in my life, and I feel sad that a lot of people are going the other way these days with that. But it's not just Easter. I don't think it's everything. Mikey Pie says, "Hey Joe, Rubber Soul Deluxe this fall." I think that's a good bet. I think if you wanted to put money out there, I think you should bet on that because there's a really good chance of that happening. I think Giles Martin has already said that Rubber Soul will be next, and that he's just taking a rest. Meanwhile, I don't know what to call you. I call you Mick 1964 or MC 1964. Just ordered the Blu-ray of the film The Italian Job, original aspect edition. Uh, Came out in January, already down to half price. Has me worried about the future of Blu-ray. Now they're probably going to get rid of Blu-ray eventually in favor of 4K, and after 4K, 8K, and after 8K, 16K, and after that, 20K. I mean, enough, just enough with that crap. Really, that's how I feel about that. Hello, Henry. Good to see you here. Henry's one of my favorite viewers. Jason says he can't wait for Rubber Soul. Recently got the Revolver one. Blah blah blah. I thought it sounds great. I don't care for it. Okay. At first, when I listened to it, I gave it a pretty good review, and then I rethought it, and no, I just don't. And I do not like Giles Martin's work sometimes. Sometimes he buries a lot of stuff. He buries a lot of stuff. I was in the car listening to Breakfast with the Beatles on the ride up here, and I heard Penny Lane that I guess Giles Martin had remastered or remixed for the one album. And the part when they go, ah, my voice is high today. Ah, that part. Uh, couldn't hear it. It was demixed. Don't do that, okay? And then there's other stuff that comes up that you never heard before, and certain dings and whistles that are not there. I don't like that. So David Henson assures us they're not going to get rid of Blu-ray, and I hope you're right. What Beatles album do you think is the weakest? Does not mean that you hate it. This is Nintendo 336, Sega 909. What Beatles album do you think is the weakest? Does not mean you hate it, but you don't think it's the best Beatles album. Well, it's always Yellow Submarine for most fans, and that's just only because it's cheating, really, because it repeats some songs that were out already, and it's only got like a few new songs on it. And side two is the instrumental. As far as if I'm not counting, there are no weak Beatles albums. None. There are none. So I really can't. There really aren't. That's not me being biased or anything. It's just the way it is. I mean, the Beatles did all great stuff. So what would you say is the Beatles' most iconic album cover? Probably Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, but the Abbey Road cover is iconic. The White Album is iconic. The Beatles are so great, man. It's with the Beatles with the four heads there. That's iconic. I mean, every day, you think of enough with the Beatles already, right? But you realize every day just how great they are. Still. Lila asks me, do you think the police who turned up on the roof should have immediately turned off all the power? Or did they get stars in their eyes and were too scared? I don't know. I think they were trusting that the Beatles themselves, by seeing the presence of the police, would get scared and stop playing. Brian McNeil says the remix of the White Album is the worst culprit. The bass is low on Revolver. The same thing on the original mix. The bass rattles the speaker. I hate the White Album remix. I mean, if I'm gonna take all the songs from the 2018 White Album Giles Martin thing, I'm gonna find some songs I think sound good. Some of them are better, maybe, or improved, and some of them sound worse. So I mean, I'm tired of this mixed bag with Giles Martin. When I get my Beatles albums every time they come out, the deluxe sets, I'm really into it for the books that come with it, the bonus songs, the outtakes, the demos, the rehearsals, all this kind of stuff. That's what I'm in it for, not for the remix. Although I keep having said that, the old the remixes I wasn't wild about from like Sergeant Pepper all the way through to Abbey Road, and Let It Be and stuff. The ones I'm excited about are the early albums. I want to hear Please Please Me with the Beatles, Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, Help, Rubber Soul. I want to see what kind of remixing magic can be done with those because they need remixing, the stereo versions anyway. They need remixing, and those may be improved. So it's interesting to see how I'm going to feel about that. Yeah, a lot of people say that, Henry. You say, aside from Yellow Submarine, you say the debut Please Please Me album is the weakest. It's hard for me to say that because although it has stuff like A Taste of Honey on there and whatever, I don't know, stuff like I Saw Her Standing There, Please Please Me, Love Me Do, Twist and Shout, Do You Want to Know a Secret? I don't know, there's good stuff on there. So I don't know. It's really like, to me, the weakest album. I don't know. Well, I would say Please, Please. If I was listing the Beatles album, Please Please Me would not be near the top. It would be probably the lower tier, but still. Hello, Martin McGrath. James Dockman wants to know, am I into the Doors? Not really, although I've gained an appreciation for the Doors over the decades, and they have about, I don't know, 8 to 10 songs that I like a lot. Something like that. Do I think that Revolution 9 is the worst Beatles song? Well, when people ask you what is the worst Beatles song, I always say Revolution 9 because that's the easy one to pick because it's not really a song, it's just a montage of tape loops and noises and sounds. It's not really a proper song. So that's cheating. But then I try not to use that one, but if I wasn't going to use it, I'd say that. If not, I would say, All Together Now, which I think is just a stupid, dumb kiddie song. And although, it's catchy and all that, and Paul knows how to write a catchy tune. Not wild about that. I'm not wild about Honey Pie, Wild Honey Pie or Honey Pie, both of them. But Wild Honey Pie isn't really a song either. It's just a segue between songs. I mean, you can go all kinds of stuff. So Brian says, I've noticed though on my UK mono first of the White Album, the first album, I prefer the stereo, but the second album, the mono version, is amazing. I only listen to the stereo. For me, the White Album has to be in stereo. It's all I listen to. I've heard the mono version, the original mono version, just because it's something different and strange. Lila, I appreciate you, Lila, trying to put politics in here, but I try to stay away from politics. Usually bands have one or two albums that are well known and iconic, while the rest are super unknown. It's crazy that the Beatles have every single album be iconic and regarded as classic. Straight. That's why we talked earlier about spirituality. And on the eighth day, God created the Beatles. This didn't just happen. This was magic. One time, once in a lifetime. Frank Tarzi of Kino Lorber says in an interview, physical media is dying. Can I tell you something? Tell Frank Tarzi of Kino Lorber that I've been hearing that physical media is dying now for like 15 to 20 years. That's all I've heard about. It's dying, it's dying. And you know what? Vinyl is doing better than it's ever done before for records. And there's a lot, I see young people all the time, teenagers, college kids. I see them all the time in the record stores and, enthralled with physical media. Do I think physical media is going down? Yeah, it's down, people, but people predicted that by now streaming would have replaced all physical media. There'd be no more vinyl, no more CD, no more books. You have Kindle and all that crap. There'd be no more books. There'd be no more, movies. There'd be physical movies. Everything would be on the streaming on demand and stuff. Yeah, right. Here we are, 2023. Wake me up at 2033, and let's see what happens. So let's see. Then it says Frank Tarzi of Kino Lorber says 100 million people are streaming, and they have trouble selling 3,000 copies of a title. Well, what kind of titles are they putting out? The titles that they're putting out, Kino Lorber, and thank God they're putting them out because they do great work. Kino, my hat goes off to you. However, the titles that they specialize in are not particularly popular titles. They're not putting out Avatar. Okay, they're not putting out Avatar. They're putting out old black and white usual movies from 30s, 40s, and 50s that have a niche audience, So, Brian says Beatles for Sale is the weakest. Yes, it's a cliche. They were tired, but it sounds like it. I don't agree. I don't think rock and roll music sounds tired to me. No, I don't agree. Let It Be is an underrated album. A lot of people hate it because of Phil Spector. Well, for me, I actually like the Phil Spector version. I mean, it's the one I'm familiar with the most. It's the one I grew up with the most. But the Let It Be album, I kind of sometimes fall into the trap where I want to say Let It Be is the weakest album. And then I think, wait a minute, for the weakest Beatle album, it has how many three number ones on it? Let It Be was number one. Get Back was number one. The Long and Winding Road was number one. And Across the Universe, although it wasn't a number one single or anything, is still a Beatles classic. There are 4 classics on that weak Beatles album. It's amazing. Most bands would go their entire career and never have one big hit or 2 big hits. Hello, Anthony. Good to see you. Good morning. The White Album is number one for Henry. It's hard for me to pick a number one. It depends on my mood. But sometimes I pick the White Album just because it has so much different stuff on it. There's so many different types of music on the White Album. Lila asked me, Lila, I love your questions. Come here anytime you can. See, she really thinks about different questions instead of just, what's your favorite Beatles album? No offense to anybody. What's your favorite Beatles album? But if you became a millionaire overnight, what's the first thing you would do? Well, I used to say the first thing I would do is quit my job. But now I don't have a job. Well, the first thing I would do was probably go to a lawyer and try to secure my assets and make sure that I'm protected. That's the first thing I would do. But if you mean like what's the first thing would I buy or something, we'd go shopping for some amazing house somewhere and buy a house. That's the first thing. Do I like any Oasis? Not particularly. Nintendo says, I'm in the minority, but personally I love Revolution 9. Well, the thing is, I don't love it at all. I can't stand it really. But when I'm listening to the White Album, I'm glad it's there. Because the White Album does everything. White Album has, ballads, rock and roll. It has country flavored stuff. It has 1920s Fred Astaire type of stuff. And it has also, it has experimental avant-garde sounds, like with Revolution 9. And when I listen to the White Album, I listen to the whole thing. I do not skip Revolution 9. And I think that the presence of Revolution 9 on the White Album actually makes the last song, Good Night, that Ringo sings, stand out more. Good Night is so much more soothing and calming after hearing Revolution 9. So I love that. Brian McNeil says, I work in the industry. The vinyl sales we had in the UK for vinyl last year at the label I work on were up 55% of the year before. And yeah, look, I know what you're saying, Brian, but, and you know, the thing is, I'm not trying to claim here that vinyl is taking over the world or vinyl is as big as it was in the 60s and 70s. No, it's not. But does it have to be? Does vinyl have to be as big as it was in the 60s and 70s? Do things have to sell 100 billion copies? Can't they just sell like, 15 million? I mean, it's still a lot of copies. Jason says I saw that digital sales of music were only 3% last year compared to 47% 10 years ago. Bingo. So 10 years ago we had more, I got you right, digital sales. Henry says, for example, I love Pink Floyd, but besides Dark Side of the Moon and The Wall, can you name any other Pink Floyd album? Yeah, I can, but I've forgotten them already. The original self-titled album, Pink Floyd. Wow, the one with the cow on it, the one with the guy on fire. I forget the name. You're right, you got a point. The beauty of an album is you listen to it as it's meant to be. No skipping, no shuffle the tracks. Are meant to be in the order as requested by the artist. Yeah, I agree with that to a point. I'm glad that Henry prefers physical media. Henry's young; he's like 20 years old. So I'm glad that you prefer physical media. You like owning your music and movies. It's fun, isn't it? I mean, yeah. They always say that it's all about the music and it's all about the movie. It's about the message, not the format. They say. And while it's about, the message or the music or the movie, not the format, isn't it fun collecting the format as well? Why not enjoy the movie and the album, but also the collecting of it? Why not have two thrills? David Henson says, Let It Be is weak, mainly because of John's lack of serious input song wise, mainly due to his preoccupation with heroin. Well, it's not just that John was on heroin, but this is the thing again. Here we go again. Putting John down again, being negative about John and his heroin, and he's lazy and he's drugged and all this stuff. The thing is, it's true. I'm not disputing that he was doing heroin, but he also was more into Yoko than the Beatles. And if you look at what John was doing with Yoko in 1968 and 69, they were doing a lot of projects. Don't forget, I mean, they were doing the Bed In for Peace. They were doing protests and things like that, the peace stuff. And musically, he had the Give Peace a Chance single out in 69. He also did in 1969, he was doing Cold Turkey, the single. It's like he did Live Peace in Toronto. People think, oh, he's not on the Beatles album, so John's not doing anything, and he's sprung out. But also, Don't Let Me Down was, if Don't Let Me Down had been on the album, it would be a different impression. Don't Let Me Down would have been nice. It should have been on the album, but it was a B-side at the time. They wanted to put out a McCartney and Lennon single, so they put out Get Back as a single, and then they put Don't Let Me Down as its B-side before the album was completed. They rushed that out. So B-sides weren't always, back then, put on albums. John Marino, I agree with you. Two of Us is a great opener. That's another one. I mean, the album's got, like I said, Let It Be's got all those songs. Let It Be, Get Back, Long and Winding Road, Across the Universe. It opens up with Two of Us. I've Got a Feeling's cool. I mean, what's wrong? Let It Be's got a lot of great stuff on it. Nintendo says, I think I Want You, She's So Heavy should have been on Let It Be, not on Abbey Road. Um, okay. Have I played any Beatles songs backwards for curiosity's sake? I used to do that when I was younger. Yeah. What's my opinion of Kiss as a band and as a brand? Well, I think that when Kiss was popular, I was in high school, and I just started high school. I was 14 when I first heard of Kiss. And 14 is a perfect age for Kiss, right? And everybody was into Kiss around me in the home. They say the same thing then that they say now. The Beatles have broke up. Forget it. The Beatles are old. The Beatles are finished. Ringo can't drum. Ringo isn't a good drummer. Peter Criss, now that's a drummer. You know, you want to talk about drums, man. Peter Criss, that's a drummer. And all this bullshit. I used to laugh at them. I laughed at them, and I said, let's see where Kiss is going to be in like 50 years. Now I got to say, to their credit, they still popular Kiss, right? They haven't. But to me, Kiss. I said it then, and I'll say it now. Kiss was mostly a gimmick, and was mostly an idea. I don't. I didn't take Kiss seriously in 1976 and 77. I don't take them very seriously now, although there are some songs I like. There are some Kiss songs I like. I'd say I like about there's about 10 Kiss songs that I really like. There's some good songs. Strutter, Beth, Rock and Roll All Night, uh, and there's other ones too, but I'm just drawing blanks when I want to think of it. Christine 16, and so on and so on. Um, Oh, and I Was Made for Loving You. I love that song. It's fantastic. But anyway, but as far as the brand of Kiss, I started watching interviews. First I used to watch the Gene Simmons Family Jewels show. And I actually think that Gene Simmons, a lot of people hate the guy. I think he's a brilliant businessman, obviously. The guy's a good businessman, knows how to make money. But I love the fact that he had a dream. He came from nothing, and Gene Simmons made something of himself. He became a huge star and a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever. And he got to sleep with all the women he wanted. I'm sorry, folks, but that's how I feel. He got to be with all the women he wanted, and he didn't let drugs ruin his life. He decided no drugs for me. I didn't take drugs. So I think Gene Simmons has a great head on his shoulders. And whenever I see an interview with Paul Stanley as well, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley together, I like both of them. It's the other guys that are screw ups. Ace Frehley was a screw up, Peter Criss, and so on. So that's how I feel about Kiss. Oh, what Martin McGrath is mentioning in the album "Wish You Were Here." That's the one I was thinking of. My Pink Floyd. Astro Zombie says you were right about video shorts, Joe. I put up one as an experiment and it has 1.5 views already. Yeah, that's what happens. It's funny with me though. Lately, when I put up video shorts, they don't do as well. At first, they would do a 1.5 like in an hour, but you never know. It's not an exact science. When was the last time you cried laughing? You literally couldn't stop when your stomach hurts. Honestly, I don't recall. I mean, those kind of hardcore belly laughs that you're dying, your eyes are tearing, can't stop laughing maniacally. I can't remember the last time. I mean, I laugh, but not the last time I had a really huge laugh like that. I can't remember. I hear some people coming around here. People. Uh, Martin McGrath says George songs on Let It Be also a turd because of Paul's solo album, good old Engelbert himself. I don't know what you're talking about. But I Me Mine, and I would say I Me Mine and For You Blue are not his best songs, but they're okay. Brian wants to know the age old question: will we get back to the egg this year? If I know the answer to that, I'd like to know what six lottery numbers are going to win because I really have no clue on that. They haven't said anything about Back to the Egg. I don't think McCartney's down on the album because of the Japanese pot bust. I think because it didn't do as well as his other albums. And critics, so Paul listens to the critics too much. You know what I mean? He's very insecure like that. He listens to if they don't like his album, he tends to be shady on it himself. Abbey Road, Henry's second favorite Beatles album, but it really sucks how underused John was on it. Well, same thing I said before. You're right. I wish there was more John on it, but Come Together, you can't go wrong with Come Together is a classic, and of course I Want You, She's So Heavy. But yeah, you got a point there. But Martin says Let It Be album is peak. Paul's songwriting at his peak, and I would agree with you on that, Martin. I would say that Paul was kind of at a peak there around that era. Get Back, Let It Be era. But so was George getting there too. Henry says Led Zeppelin was also big too at that time, right, Joe? Yeah, absolutely. Zeppelin was huge. I remember in 1979. I love the album In Through the Outdoor. A lot of Zeppelin fans don't like In Through the Outdoor. I like it, and I bought it. But I remember also again in 1979 there was a guy that was a big Zeppelin fan telling me, "Forget about the Beatles, man. John Bonham, man. John Bonham is the drummer, not Ringo." I really like John Bonham. Whenever people ask me my favorite drummers, I always pick John Bonham in there. But he's a different kind of style. He's playing hard and heavy and fast, and Ringo doesn't do that. That's not his style. I do not like Calling Dr. Love. I did not like that song. I don't know if you saw my review one time when I was trashing that song. Calling Dr. Love to me is an example of, I think Gene Simmons wrote that. I could be wrong. I don't know. But it's like him just like going, they don't know how to write. Dr. Love, I am your doctor of love. I am your doctor of love, Dr. Love. It was like something like that, as I remember it. We're going back like 10 or more years when I heard it. Right, physical content, right? Physical content, as Aaron Campbell says, physical content, you always own it. If you buy digital platforms, you lose the rights, you lose the content. On digital platforms, if you buy it, you don't own it. Long-term rental. That's what it is. If something's offered for rent now on whatever you call it, streaming or whatever, how do you know it's going to be there 10 years from now when you want it? Stupid, stupid, stupid. Yeah, Foster Brooks. I'm tired of Foster Brooks. For those who don't know, Foster Brooks was an older guy that used to play a drunk. He used to act like he was drunk all the time. I'm drunk all the time, and that got old real fast. If you ever watch the Dean Martin celebrity roasts from the 1970s, I used to watch those. I even have them on DVD, and I would start watching those celebrity roasts. And Foster Brooks is amusing for one time. That's it, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Good morning to Heroic Waffles. Good morning to Darren Gamble. Hello, Darren. Darren had a birthday recently. Lila wants to know, would Sonny Sonny, would Sonny had made a good godfather in Succession if he had survived Vito Corleone? Well, Sonny was too hot-headed. He didn't think on his feet enough. He went by instinct and emotion. So I think he would have been a disaster if he had survived Vito. I agree with you. Sun King, one of John's best underrated track. Yeah, even if it is ripped off, but it's a rip off of Albatross by Fleetwood Mac. Do I like the film Taxi Driver? Taxi Driver is a movie that I didn't see for many, many years after it was released, and I saw it on a crummy old VHS, and I didn't think much of it. I thought it was overrated. What's the big deal, Because I caught it too late. But I now have a Blu-ray of it, and I want to reevaluate it on a proper Blu-ray looking good. So I'm going to give that another spin, and I think I'm going to like it this time. But we'll see. Alan C. Records. Hello, Alan C. Records is going to be joining me, right? Alan, you're coming to the Fest for Beatles fans, right? Alan C. Records. Listening to me as he washes the dishes. I actually do stuff like that. When it's my turn to wash the dishes in my household, I take my camera and I find a video or something and I stand it up on the side by the dishwashing rack. I hear a lot of people milling about outside. I hope they don't try to come in here, but you never know. Where's my favorite place just to go for a walk all by myself and just enjoy the view and scenery and contemplate? Oh, well, there's a park I go to. I like the park. I mean, that's a common answer. Astro Zombie says that Kiss still put on the best show he's ever seen. Not musically, but the stage presence, the stage show was insane. Well, that's what I mean. It's a visual thing. Look at me. I can spit fire. I can spit blood at you. You know, that's and I could be wrong, but Darren, I've said hi to you already, my friend. I mean, Darren, like I said hello. I said you had a birthday recently. Then he says hello again, and hello again, and hello again. Hello, Darren. Okay, MC64 says he also just ordered the King of Queens complete series, $22. What a bargain! Only $22 for the complete King of Queens series. A great series, a great bargain. TGM respects my Kiss opinion. Thank you. Do you have an Iron Maiden opinion or heavy metal music opinion? I don't know any. I don't know Iron Maiden unless I hear a song, unless I hear a popular song, and I recognize the song. I don't know any Iron Maiden offhand that I can think of. Heavy metal in general, I like some of it. I mean, I'm generally not a heavy metal guy, but if I hear something that sounds good, it's good. I mean, what qualifies as heavy metal? AC/DC? Is that heavy metal? I don't know. Is Def Leppard that heavy metal? Would you say? I mean, I've heard some of that I like. You know. Joe, why are you so obsessed with Charlton Heston? Well, because when I grew up, that's a good question, Henry. That's fair. Because when I grew up, all the movies I liked had Charlton Heston in them. At a young age, when I was like 11 years old, I saw Planet of the Apes and Beneath the Planet of the Apes, the first two Planet of the Apes films, and he played the hero. And then I would watch every year. I'd watch Ben Hur on TV around Easter time with my grandparents, and I loved that movie. And then I would watch the Ten Commandments, and he played Moses, and I liked, and that was every year too, and that came around. And then I would go to the movie theater, and I saw two movies, science fiction movies, and I loved them. One of them was The Omega Man, and the other one was Soylent Green. And Charlton Heston was in all those movies, and I started realizing the man does it all. He does Bible movies, he does science fiction and horror movies, he does westerns, he does all kinds of stuff, historical films. He played Sherlock Holmes once. I mean, he could play anything. And then I got more into him, and I found him to be very much like an old-fashioned gentleman kind of guy. Like he's from the old school kind of thing. I don't want to get into the political stuff because, I will say this much. In Charlton Heston's early career, he was very much like a libertarian, you would say. He marched in rallies in favor of Martin Luther King and equal rights and that kind of thing. He marched in the rallies, in the 60s. And then later on, as time went on, he became the head of the NRA, and that aggravated a lot of people. And I don't really comment on the political stuff. I don't think it's a good idea here. But however you feel, I believe you can separate the artist from the movies or the music. That's what I try to do. I still love. I think Rosemary's Baby is one of the greatest horror films ever made. Aside from the fact that Roman Polanski ran off after having sex with a teenage girl. And whatever the controversies with Woody Allen, I love Woody Allen movies. I'm not going to stop enjoying his movies because of the controversy there. So I hope that fills you in on it. And as I say, Charlton Heston's the likes of Charlton Heston as a I don't know, a great man, a guy who he's also like he has a good work ethic. He loved making movies. Trying to explain everything. He was a good father. He loved making movies. Loved what he did. He was a good American. I have no problem with anything with him. To tell you the truth. Now I don't know. I mean, Henry's putting four laugh. He says, "Why are you so obsessed with Charlton Heston? You got four laughing symbols. Ha ha ha." And I'm thinking, what are you another one drinking the Kool-Aid? You're a younger person. Are you hearing all the kind of stereotypes about him and all that kind of stuff? My foot is falling asleep big time here, folks. Okay, a lot of comments here. A lot of comments here. Do you think Joel Morris asked, do you think we'll get a new Ringo and Paul record this year? I'm sure. I'd be willing to bet we get a new Ringo and a new Paul. Yeah, Astro Zombie says he loves the fact that Charlton Heston was cool to me when I met him. He was a class act, just the way I always wanted him to be, the way I always dreamed he would be, envisioned him to be. He was such a polite, came over, shook my hand, said thank you very much. I asked him for an autograph. He said sure. He said, and what's your name? He asked me my name. He didn't just scribble his name. He made it to Joe. It was wonderful. That's what old stars used to do. Are the Oscars still relevant? Not really. You know, not really. That's all I could say. And Henry says, no, no, it's not that about Heston. He says, it's just that you always mention him during movie discussions. That's all. Well, I did that not just for your benefit, Henry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to insult you or anything or offend you. But I did that for the benefit of anybody listening who might be jumping to conclusions. Do you think we'll get a new Rolling Stones record this year? Yeah, I think that's the idea. I think they're putting out a new record, and Paul McCartney's going to play bass on at least one track. Kirk Douglas opinion. I've never thought much of Kirk Douglas. Sorry, sacrilege. I don't really love the movie. I forget the name of it. Spartacus. I don't. I like I like a lot of Bible movies, but I don't like Spartacus very much. So okay. Wow, we got a long ways to go. I feel like I've been on here a long time, but we still have like an hour left here. So the sun is coming out more and more. It's kind of shining on my screen over here. It's getting harder to see where the sun is moving to. She is. Okay, we're in 50 minutes. 5-0, 5-0, 50 minutes. Woo. This is going to be a 2 hour affair here, I think, unless I want to go early. Do you like blooper reels of your favorite films, or does that ruin it? No, absolutely doesn't ruin it. Doesn't ruin it at all. I love blooper reels. I mean, I've seen a lot of bloopers of Abbott and Costello and stuff, but a lot of times what happens is they in the old days they destroyed a lot of those blooper reels. Now they keep them now, but in the old days they used to destroy them, a lot of them. Hi Wes, no, I'm not even close to watching the Charlton Heston film. You're talking about Secret of the Incas, which I've never seen. Don't know when I'll get that on. Could be a long time. I don't know. You should check out The Irishman, Joe. It's real. It's actually really good. Yeah, I've heard that too, and that's on my list. I'll get to that. I hope. Which John live album do I prefer? None of them. John, unfortunately, John didn't live long enough to have a really good, solid live album. Geez, I mean, Live Peace in Toronto. He does old covers. Blue Suede Shoes, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, Money. That's what I want. You know, and the performance on the Live in New York City, 1972, 1-to-1. That's just a poor performance all around. It's just weak and late and underwhelming. But I like that he does come together on there. Joel asked me, "Do you think Victor Spinetti's parts were the really necessary in the Beatles movies?" Absolutely. I think he really spiced up the movies and made them funny and fun. Victor Spinetti's a unsung hero of the Beatles movies. He's fantastic as the television director with an attitude in Hard Day's Night, and he's wonderful as the crazy mad scientist in Help. And he's a little bit overbearing though, as the drill sergeant in Magical Mystery Tour. That's the one where he's a little bit over too much. Do you like mafia films? Yeah, they're okay. Which is the best mobster flick? The Godfather. First Godfather is one of the best, and but I like older films too. I like the Public Enemy with James Cagney. You know, why are films today nearly 3 hours long? Well, they're not all 3 hours long. They still make movies today that are 90 minutes. A lot of them are 3 hours. A lot of people think that quantity equals quality, and that's not the case. But it doesn't matter. I've seen old movies that are 60 minutes long, 1 hour. They're boring as hell. They drag on. They feel like they go on forever. And I've seen movies that are like 3 or 4 hours long and it's so captivating that they go by like that. So it's not the length of time; it's how they do it and how they make it feel. Um, I'm gonna try to turn this around. I don't know if I can't really turn it around much. So how's the lighting? Is it okay? Because I can't. The light is surely shining on the camera here. No, Gone with the Wind is not 7 hours long. Favorite Tarantino film besides Pulp Fiction? Kill Bill 1 and 2. I consider Kill Bill one long saga, one epic. I don't know what I can do here with the shade. It doesn't want to come down. Get a lot of light here. If you can, as long as you can see me, okay. Not that you would want to. I'm just saying. Ah, MC64 loves King of Queens because all the inside jokes. He worked for UPS. Yeah, well, I worked for the post office, so I get yeah, but that's not even. It doesn't so much matter to me that Doug Heffernan works for a delivery company. It could be anything. Yeah, I never mentioned Goodfellas. The thing with Goodfellas is I saw it the first time and I really thought it was great. Then I revisited it a couple of times and it was okay. So, it's funny. I never mentioned Goodfellas, but I might try it again. I definitely think that. Yeah, I agree with you. Astro Zombie says, "Is it just me that thinks that after a while, De Niro is just De Niro and everything he's in?" Yeah, I do feel that way. Do I like older martial arts movies? If so, what would you say are your favorites? Nah, not especially. I'm not big into martial arts. I mean, Kill Bill 1 and 2 are about martial arts. I like those. But as far as older movies go, not really. One of my favorite John Huston films, Treasure of the Sierra Madre. And John Huston has a small role in Battle for the Planet of the Apes. You know, hey, can everybody see me all right here? Please let me know in the comments because the sun right now the sun is really strong on my screen and I can't see myself. How long have I been retired now, and is it still great? Well, I've been retired 11 months now. It'll be a year on April 23rd. 11 months, and is it still great? It's always great. How can it not be great? I never get bored. I have a lot of hobbies. I do this here on YouTube. Wow, I can't see anything. I wonder if my camera is either it's my camera. Folks, I need you to tell me how the screen looks because I can't even see anything. Right now I can see nothing. Howard Hawks. Well, I don't like the thing from another world. Was there a film that you have seen that made an impact on you that changed your opinions of something? That's a great question, but I'm sure, I always say, I'm sure there have been. How about Roots, or the TV movie Roots, TV series? Wow, I don't, what's going on here, folks? Can you see? I wonder what's going on with that. Let me see something. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Try to change this around a little bit. See if this helps at all, folks. Hold on. You're going to see people's heads going through that window on the door over there. Jesus. All right. The sun really came through, huh? Um, Trying to think of films that changed my mind on something. Yeah, Roots. I said Roots. Well, I didn't change my mind. I always was sympathetic, but it's a strong. The TV show Roots was very powerful. Yeah. Astro Zombie says Scream 6 was surprisingly decent. Not great by any means, but a fun watch. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that Scream 6 is really good. I'm not familiar with the Scream movies. Can Austin Butler come out of the shadow of Elvis? Yeah, I think he will. Wow. Well, you say Austin Butler is a goof. He still uses his Elvis voice. So I think you're wrong about that, unless I'm wrong. I think he was hired. I read somewhere that he was hired to play Elvis because he sounded like Elvis. So I think he already sounds like Elvis naturally. Richard, the music maniac. What's going on, Richard? I'm just telling you what I heard, though. I heard that somebody was in a place and they heard a voice, and he turned around and said, "That sounds like Elvis." And that's what I heard. That's all I know. I really don't. You want to know something? I really don't care about Austin Butler. I don't give a shit. You want to know the truth? I really don't care. And I think that Elvis the movie's overrated. I saw it and I gave it a review. And I thought it was good at the time, but then when I reflected on it more and more, there's a lot of inconsistencies and uh, things left out and fabrications and all that stuff like you usually see in biopics. So it wasn't that terrific. I still have the movie The Whale here. I haven't watched it yet. Somebody made me a copy. Eventually the sun is going to come around here, and the same damn thing's going to happen. So let me know when the picture gets overbearingly bright. Have I seen the film Bubba Hotep? Yes, I did see that, and I remember that was an amusing. It was amusing enough for me. Elvis spoof. Yeah, the firing of Tom Parker on stage was horrendous. Right, it never happened in real life. Joke. I see the glare is starting here as well, folks. I see the glare is starting here as well. So now if I come back here, it's still over. Wow, this is really sucks. I don't know where to go. Tell you what I'll do. Give me a break here, folks. Hold on. Hold on. Here's somewhere where there'll be no problem. There will be no problem. Should be no problem here for the rest of the chat. All right. All right. The only reason I was sitting where I was because there was an electric outlet over there. There's no electric outlets here. But you know what? I'm fully charged, so I'll be all right. Uh, do I like Daniel Day-Lewis? Nothing strikes me at the moment. Have I seen the menu? No. Catchup with mayo. Hope I got it right this time. Yep. Well, it's supposed to be ketchup. I mean, that's the joke. Get it? Ketchup. That's a joke. Spoof on ketchup. Do you enjoy made-for-TV movies? Depends on the movie. I didn't like Salem's Lot, but I mean, there were TV movies I like. I like The Night Stalker, the first Night Stalker. Trilogy of Terror. I mean, it depends on the movie. There's a TV movie called Summer of Fear that I like with Linda Blair. So, what's on everybody's so-called minds? Penny Lane, what's going on? Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyeballs. How hot do you like a curry? Well, I like spicy food. I mean, I don't know about curry, but I like hot, spicy food. Do you like the actor Kurt Russell's movies? Some of them. I like Kurt Russell overall. Yes. Uh, a couple of Kurt Russell movies I hated were 3,000 Miles to Graceland. And I also couldn't stand the movie Escape from New York. I thought that sucked. I know everybody loves Escape from New York, and I'm a science fiction nut, but where have all the people gone? That sounds familiar. Might have seen that. I have not seen Gangs of New York or Lincoln. Yes, I do like The Thing with Kurt Russell. Do I like the Stephen King films? My favorite Stephen King films are the ones I've seen. Was Misery. Um, The Shining. I don't like The Shining film, believe it or not. What's another one I didn't like? I like Carrie as well. Carrie, I like, and yeah, Misery. Good morning, B-sides. If your if your room was on fire back home, what item would you grab in your collection? Paul McCartney's autograph and Ringo's autograph, you know. But I think you asked me that question before, though, Lila. Ah, I think Vice Academy. Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen Carrie. Yes, I like Carrie. The problem I have with The Shining, I've said this many times, but one of the main problems I have with it is that Jack Nicholson is always Jack Nicholson. He's kind of like they picked the wrong actor for that role, in my opinion, because Jack Nicholson, if you watch all his stuff, he's always kind of weird and creepy. This is supposed to be a movie showing a normal guy kind of becoming unhinged. The problem with The Shining is the film is that Jack Nicholson is always unhinged. So even from the beginning. Oh, I've seen Carrie too. No, I have not seen Carrie too. Five Easy Pieces. Would I rather have a Butcher cover or John autograph? John autograph by a million miles. I mean, I can always get a Butcher cover. Uh, John Lennon autograph it's more expensive too. Which of the Tim Burton Batman flicks did you like? Well, I liked the first one with Nicholson, and I also saw Batman Returns in the movie theater, but I don't really remember it very well. Thoughts on the Rat Pack? I forget who's in the Rat Pack. Peter Lawford's not my favorite, that's for sure. Yeah, my Paul and Linda autograph. Yeah, the Ringo autograph I bought it on eBay in the year 2000, and I got a certificate of authenticity. It's Ringo signing "Stop and Smell the Roses," the "Stop and Smell the Roses" album with the full autograph on it. Not just Ringo, but Ringo Starr, first and last name. Yeah, I know Sammy Davis and Dean Martin. I guess Dean Martin's my favorite of the Rat Pack. Sinatra, right? I guess. I didn't like The Shining. I'm sorry, Henry. It's not my thing. I mean, it should have been my thing because I'm a horror fan. But don't forget, even Stephen King didn't like the movie The Shining. What was your reaction a few years back when the rumor was going around about Beatle kids forming a group? I think it's silly to have the sons of the Beatles forming a group. Although if it happened, I would check it out. You know what I mean? It's silly. It's not necessary. But if it happened, I would check it out. It'd be interesting. But that's about. You know what I mean? It's like I don't care. But let's see. Forced to choose one for a road trip: Thriving Pain or Pet Sounds. I don't call Driving Rain Thriving Pain anymore, because I did an episode of my Talk More Talk show, which I'm going to promote right here. Everybody, tomorrow, tomorrow we're going to be doing a new Talk More Talk show, and I'm moderating. It's going to be on live, and that'll be tomorrow night, Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Check out Talk More Talk. The subject is going to be, we're going to take 16 number one songs by the solo Beatles, all 16 number ones, and we're going to rank them each from our least favorite to most favorite. Anyway, going back to the question, one time on Talk More Talk, I did a show, and we discussed the Driving Rain album, which I always call Thriving Pain because I hated every song on it pretty much. And after playing it again a few times after many years, my feeling was that while I still consider it probably Paul's least album of new material, his own least album of his own material, I think it's better than I thought. Not as bad as I thought. Not as worthless as I thought. Let's put it that way. So now I call it Driving Rain. But anyway, I would much rather hear Driving Rain than Pet Sounds. B-side says my husband's dad helped Linda with some photography stuff. Cool. McCartney's used to send them Christmas cards, and I don't think it's even crossed their minds to save them. Wow, that's always the way it is, isn't it? It's always like the wrong people that get to meet the stars that you want to meet. You know what I mean? The people who couldn't care less are the ones that get lucky. And the people like me that would love it, we can't get lucky. Favorite board game or computer game? Well, I won't say I have a favorite computer game, but I know that when I used to go to the arcades in the 80s, my favorite game like that is Ms. Pac-Man. I like Ms. Pac-Man better than Pac-Man. As far as favorite board game, I used to like Clue a lot, the game of Clue. And I like Monopoly, but Monopoly goes on too long, gets boring after a long time. I also like Scrabble, which I'm very good at. What's my most favorite St. Patrick's Day song? Luck of the Irish, Give Ireland Back to the Irish. Well, if Mull of Kintyre is considered an Irish song, I'll go for Mull of Kintyre, although I never thought of that as an Irish song. Hey, B-Sides likes Ms. Pac-Man. All right. See, I'm equal rights. I believe that, Ms. over Mr. something, you know. Yeah, Mulla Kintyre's got the bagpipes, Scottish. Um, what's the good word, folks? What's the good word? Pray tell. Pray tell. What's the good word? Did you know that John, Paul, and George have Irish ancestry? That's fine. That's good. Flip side. Flip side CT. Talking about erotic characters, Dwight Fry was certainly not talked about enough. He was a concert pianist and comedian who died at 44. Yeah, Dwight Fry played Renfield in the original Bela Lugosi Dracula movie, and he's in Frankenstein also with Boris Karloff and other things. And he played a great maniac. Yeah, nutty guy, definitely. Have I ever played the Beatles trivia game? I think I tried it. No, some of the answers were wrong. I remember playing it, and some of the answers are not right. Do I prefer Frankenstein or Dracula? I prefer Frankenstein. I think the story, the original story of Dracula, the novel by Bram Stoker, is better than the original Mary Shelley's Frankenstein story. I like the story of, I think, Dracula better than Frankenstein's story. But overall, in the movies, when I watch movies, I'd rather watch Frankenstein, I think. Okay. Excuse me. My water is on the other side of the room. David Fishman. Yeah, well, I said I'm not a Giles Martin fan, really. Sorry to Giles Martin fans. Sorry to Giles Martin himself. But I always try to be fair by saying it's hit and miss because I have heard Giles Martin material that I like. I have heard remixes that I like. But too often, it's like, the old saying, like the little girl with the curl on her forehead, when she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bad, she was hard. That's kind of how it is with Giles Martin. When his mixes are good, they're very good. When I don't like a mix, it's pretty bad. That kind of thing. Right, Frankenstein is the name of the scientist, but it really can go both ways because Frankenstein the monster is like he's like in a way the son of the doctor created. It's like the doctor's his father almost. Did I like Count Chocula cereal as a kid? I don't remember eating Count Chocula much. No, I don't remember eating it much. I think I like Frankenberry better. Okay, thank you. MC64 says the full film called Where Have All the People Gone is on YouTube. Wow. I forget what that was about. I might want to see that if I remember that. Yeah, She's Leaving Home might be one of the better mixes that I think Giles Martin did. And as I say, of all the albums that he did, I'd say the Sergeant Pepper's album was probably my favorite of all the Giles Martin things. It was the least offensive to me. Say it was missing the least stuff, least amount of stuff. Where have all the people gone? I know I've seen movies. That's everybody. What is that about again? In the town, everybody is dying or something. I love movies like that. Actually, when it's like the end of the world kind of thing. Well, Astro Zombie, I've said that I've said that completely. Astro Zombie and I agree on this. If Giles Martin's surname wasn't Martin, he wouldn't even be doing those mixes. I agree. They put Giles Martin in there because he's the son of George Martin. It's G period Martin uh, for the new age. And I'm sorry, but I'd rather Hicks do it. And I keep forgetting Paul Hicks. I get mixed up with Peter Hicks and Paul Hicks. I think Paul Hicks. Old school Frankenstein's monster was played by Karloff, and old school Dracula was played by Christopher Lee, right? No, old school Dracula is played by Bela Lugosi, the one that originated. You must have heard of "I want to suck your blood." I am Dracula. That voice comes from Bela Lugosi. He invented it. Christopher Lee is the second popular Dracula. Is Frankenstein, or the one where he throws the girl in the water, still cut? Is it still cut? No. The scene used to be cut for many, many decades, and then in 1987, they restored the scene where the monster accidentally throws the girl in the water. David Fishman has a 30 film DVD of the Universal Monster Collection. I know the one you mean. Very good to have. Have you ever seen Warner Herzog's version of Nosferatu the Vampire? Yes, I have, Charles. Charles Merriam. Yes, I've seen it. It's featuring Klaus Kinski. I want to take a moment here to say to everybody who's here now, if you haven't subscribed to my other channel and hit the notification bell, please do. My movie channel. We're talking about. I'm glad that we're talking about a lot of movie stuff here as well as the music. But my movie channel is called Mayo's Marquee now. I say that's the new title, but actually it's not. It's the first that in the long run. After all these, I went with the name that I started with, Mayo's Marquee, Marquee. Hammer's Hound of the Baskervilles is good. I haven't seen that one in ages. I own it though. I like the Basil Rathbone Hound of the Baskervilles. Okay. Who played the Wolfman in the old days? Lon Chaney Jr. Yep. Lon Chaney, number one Wolfman. Did you ever see the movie Warlock Moon? I've never heard of it. It's got Laurie Walters of Eight is Enough. Never. All right, Darren, you're in luck today. I'm going to sing. Don't you worry about what's on your mind. Oh no, let's spend the night together. Girl, I love you more than ever. Let's spend some time together. Okay, there you go. I promised you the other day for your birthday, Darren, I was going to sing a little bit. Any comment of Rathbone not talking about him playing Sherlock in his book? I had one sentence, I think. I didn't know that. The best Van Helsing. Ooh, that's a toughie. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. There's a lot of Van Helsings. I gotta go along with Peter Cushing. I gotta give it to Peter Cushing. Although Peter Cushing is too young, but in the movie, the first movie. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely go with Peter Cushing though. Can you get all the classic 30s and 40s horror monster movies on Blu-ray? At this point, I think they're all on Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure everything is on Blu-ray. Everything. And there are a lot of movies from the 30s and 40s, classic monsters, and horror. There might be, if anybody knows of something that's missing, let me know. But I'm pretty sure everything's on. Yes, I know the movie called "To the Devil a Daughter," starring Christopher Lee. It's not that good. I mean, I own that movie, but I haven't seen it in ages. But I don't remember it being that good. I think that's considered the last Hammer horror movie from that era. I think. By the way, speaking of my movie channel, Mayo's Marquee, we're going to be doing a movie chat like this. I'll be in the same place here probably, and I'm going to be doing this Tuesday night. That's going to be Tuesday night at about 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So join me on Mayo's Marquee. That's my other channel. I'm going to be doing a live stream like this. I'll have guests with me. We'll be doing Q&As. I'll have a few friends here, and we'll be talking about movies and TV stuff exclusively. And that'll be on Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Boris Karloff had a very cool voice. Antipasto. I'm wondering what happened to the Time Machine. Yeah, that was never a favorite. Do I like the Three Stooges? Of course, I love the Three Stooges. Absolutely. I'm a Stooge fan. Why, you imbecile? Yeah, of course. Sure. Very good. Thank you very much, MC64. David Fishman says the Phantom of the Opera. We're talking about the silent version here with Lon Chaney Sr. Says it's really scary, especially the scene when the girl takes the mask off. Yeah. Hey, Beetle Babe is here. Beetle Babe, yeah, we're going to be doing a movie chat. If you want to come, you're welcome. If you're available, Tuesday night. It's Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. or 7:15. It's going to be more like 7:15, not 7:30, 7:15. Well, we'll see. Henry, I'm with you. Mo is my favorite. Why, you knucklehead? Yeah, I like Mo. Will we stop existing if and when the internet gets switched off? It's gotten to such a point now. I mean, I grew up without the internet until I was in my 30s, right? Or 40s, really. But I know you always mention that. You always mention that. Henry always says, "I love your movie chats. It's always fun to get Tom Hagnati's opinion on things." I'm glad you love Tom so much. But seriously, all kidding aside, but don't expect to get his opinion on horror movies because he's not a horror guy. Remember that. Or comedy, really. But not to take anything away, but there are other people there too on the show. Um, Yeah, I know Basil Rathbone felt typecast as Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. What's your opinion on Joe Besser and Curly Joe DeRita? I hate Curly Joe DeRita. I think Curly Joe is the worst of the Three Stooges. He never seemed like he was into it. He always felt like he seemed like he was just going through the motions. Oh, he gets hit on the head and he's like, oh, 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 oh. It doesn't even seem like he's really into it. And nobody really likes Joe Besser either, but I don't mind Joe Besser so much. Joe Besser was a good comedian, and Of course, the Three Stooges films with Joe Besser are not as good as the ones with Curly and Shemp. But you still have Moe and Larry in them, and Moe and Larry. If you don't like Joe Besser in those Stooges shorts films, you at least get to have Moe and Larry. I don't know if Mike Love is going to perform at the Chiller Show. I don't know about that. I can't answer that one for you. I don't know. The Scaffold, I almost bought some albums. The Scaffold is Paul McCartney's brother's band, and I don't know that song. When it comes to John versus Paul, I'm with you, Joe. But when it comes to De Niro versus Pacino, I'm with Tom. Be my guest, man. Everybody's got their favorites. I thought I was going to stay here for 2 hours, but I'm thinking of going. Actually, I might actually go and watch some other videos I wanted to see. So I'm just going to stay here another moment or two. Then I'm going to go. I have not seen any of the Till Death series. I know that Till Death Do Us Part was the original inspiration for the All in the Family show, but I haven't seen that. Having said that, I'm going to now say, wow, it's been 92 minutes. And no, Tom is not a Pacino guy. I'm a Pacino guy. Tom is a De Niro guy. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Everybody, please check into all the things I'm going to be doing. First of all, we have tomorrow night, Monday night, here on YouTube, but not my channel. You got to go over to Talk More Talk. We're going to do a Talk More Talk show where we're going to be ranking all the number one solo songs, from 16 of them, from least favorite to most favorite. That's tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern on Talk More Talk. And please, Tuesday night, check in right back to my, well, not this channel, but Mayo's Marquee. Check out Mayo's Marquee Tuesday night, 7:15 p.m., where we will do movie talk over at Mayo's Marquee. And I thank you all. It's wonderful. You've been terrific. I have the best viewers ever. I love when you're here. Enjoy your day, your night, afternoon. Talk soon. Bye.